You know, these old Vestel sets are a real simple design, but that makes it doubly embarrassing when you can't figure it out and get it to work. Well, howdy, look at this. It's just gone 9 o'clock. It's a Friday night. I should be out clubbing with the girls, but I've decided to do a YouTube video for you instead. Isn't that good of me? Actually, joking aside, not going out to the nightclub with the girls, I was planning on having a Chinese takeaway tonight. It's raining. That's kind of put me off going down to fetch it. But I was in the mood for a Chinese takeaway. It's been a good week. It's been a good couple of weeks. So I thought I'd give myself a treat. But then it started raining, and so I thought, no, what I'll do, my YouTube subscribers would like a Friday night video, and so I decided that I would come in, give up my takeaway, just give it up, and come in and do this. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I'd completely forgotten about this TV. I did part one not last week before, maybe the week before that, and I was just having a bit of a tidy up in here today, and I suddenly saw this TV, and I thought, what's this? And I suddenly realised, oh, I'd forgotten all about this. I went out to get a part and just completely lost track of what I was doing. Anyway, so if you're a regular, you would have seen me do this. The backlights are not coming on. So we stripped it down to the backlights, we took the screen out, I went through every connection, tested every single LED, and it was all fine. We decided that it had to be a problem on the power supply. I changed the resistor, I changed the driver that feeds the LED driver, if that makes sense, and I changed the LED driver. Still no backlights. And then I just went, I know what, I've got plenty of these boards, I'll go and get one. And I forgot. Other things happen. So let me go and find the board. Now, I haven't got the exact same board. I thought, I normally go for the 2-3 number. There is a 2-3 number on here, and that's always the best one, the one that starts 2-3. But I couldn't find the exact one. But this, again, is from a 49-inch Vestel. It's an IPS 72, and it's from a 49-inch backlit one. So there still could be an issue. But I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think, well, put it this way, if this doesn't light it, I don't think anything's going to light it, to be honest with you. I think that's it, baby. Walk away, Renee. That's what I think. That's it. What could possibly go wrong? Can you see the thingy? I'll just move the camera. And now you can see the thingy. Whatever. When it comes to customers' TVs, and this is a customer's TV, I always do prefer, and I always do preach, replacing the board rather than replacing the part. It's great for the channel to replace the part, and let's find out what's actually wrong with it. But replacing just the part, there's always that problem that it may come back in a few months' time. So this is possibly the best solution. Possibly it may be a weakness in the board. I don't think so. 17 IPS 72s are normally very strong. Anyway, let's turn some lights out. Hopefully you can see a bit. So we're waiting for that to light up and backlights to come on, which we haven't seen on this TV yet. So there we go. You're kidding me. You are kidding me. Well, it's gone into standby. What? Let me get my LED tester out. As you can see, they're lighting up. You know what that means, don't you? I did think about this last week. I didn't think about it till after I went to bed. Because I go to bed and think about TVs, you know. That should, that should get... Ooh, that bush. That should get you... Anyway. Oh, wow. Do you know what that means, don't you? The main board is not... lights coming back on. The main board is not telling me power supply to switch them on. So there was nothing wrong with the other power supply. Probably still works, I would have thought. I'm not going to the unit. I have got a main board in, but not at 9:20. It's pouring down with rain. It's got to be that. I repaired changed three different things on the original power supply. Still no backlights. Just put a new power supply in and still no backlights. Yet the backlights are working absolutely fine. I mean, that doesn't tell you 100%. But we did all the tests last week. We did all the tests good enough to say. Unfortunately, there's not... I don't know where the BL on pin is on the IPS 72s. They don't mark them. Because all I need is 5 volts. One of these pins here, one of these 12 pins that comes from the main board. The main board basically sends a 5 volt signal to turn this board on. And I've got no idea which pin that is. Otherwise, I'd stick 5 volts on it now and make it come on. It has to be that. And I did think about that last week after I... in fact, oh, yes, I did. So, not last week, but the week before, or the week before that. So the day after I played with this TV, I came in the next day and I tried to get a schematic to find out what the backlight on, because I sort of thought it could be the main board not turning it on. Let's see if we can get it turned on. Because if you remember, oh, I don't know if we did, I'm sure we did. I'm going to have to go back and look at the video. We put a test set of backlights on, and the test set of backlights wouldn't work. And if a test set of backlights won't work, obviously you stop blaming the power supply. But now it's got to be the main board. It's quite rare just to have that. Normally a main board does something silly, like it won't stop blinking because it's got a software problem, or the backlights come on, but you don't get a picture because of a problem with the main board, or the software is weird. But normally, very rare for a main board not turning on the backlights. But I do believe that is what's happening here. This is a break in the wire, but I've never known that before, and I don't think that... Sorry, light's coming back on. Okay, what I'm going to do is just a little test, because before I go any further on this, I want to make sure that the screen is okay. Don't forget, I haven't even seen the screen coming on. I think we did a torch test. That gives you, 40% that you're seeing an image. There still might be lines or cracks on the screen. So before I go and raid my spare parts department for the main board, which I'm 90% sure it is now, I'm just going to switch the TV on. In fact, where is... There it is. It'll be handy if we can see that dangling about there. Can we see that dangling about there? Yes, I will turn some lights off. I will switch on the TV. It'll put... Oh, that's disappeared straight away. No, it's there. It might come on in standby. Yeah, it's gone to standby, so let me wake it up. Wish somebody would invent remote controls for these TVs. Waiting for it to come on. Thank you. So the TV thinks it on. I'm going to give the backlight some power now. I'm going to switch on my LED tester, which will light them up about 70%, 60-70%, never full brightness. And this will let me know if the screen is cracked or whatever. So switching it on in 3, 2, 1. Took its time, but switch off, switch on. Yeah. Now we'll keep the backlights on and I'll switch the TV off. How... Right, okay, the backlights are on. They've got to be on. That can't switch... Yes, they're on, I can see. That just looked like it turned the backlights off as well. So let me switch the TV on. You get that little line, which you always see if the backlights are on first. But yeah, there's the... It has to be the main board. Does anybody know what the backlight on pin is on a 17 IPS 72? Because I want to give it 5 volts, but I don't want to give it 5 volts where I shouldn't give it 5 volts. I couldn't find out that information. I tried looking for the information and I couldn't find it. Maybe somebody has got that information. Is this not a smart TV? Because I would have thought we'd have seen some smart logos by now. Oh, it's gone to standby, isn't it? Again. Because I switched it off. And it's a Vestel. So switching it back on, we'll get the logo. And then we should get some apps. Unless it's that old, it hasn't got apps. But I would have thought this TV would have had apps. So who'd have thought it was the main board, eh? Very rare fault, I think. Very rare fault in my experience. I mean, if I could, find out where the backlight pin on is, BL on that power supply, I could find a 5-volt supply and I wouldn't have to put a main board in. But again, that comes under the category of a bit of a botch, and it's a customer set. I'd rather put a new main board in. I will go checking on the main board just to see if I can see any shorts, but I really don't think that's going to tell me anything. Switch the TV on, just see if I can find 5 volts anywhere. That was 1 volt. That's 1 volt. That's nothing. There's 6.2. There's the 12. There's the 12. Twelve, 12, 12, and 12. That's the 12 volts telling the main board to come on. 3.2 could be for the standby. I would have thought there was a 5 volts hanging around here though. Ah, there's 5. There is 5 volts. Let me see if that goes away when the set is in standby. No, that stays on. So that will be 5 volt standby then. But somewhere in here there should be a pulse of 5 volts just to tell the backlights to come on. These will go high when the board is told to turn on. Yeah, okay. If I knew where, well, I know where the 5 volt is on there now, but if I knew what the backlight on pin was, I could feed it 5 volts. And I did look at the pinout on the chip on the LED driver last week, or a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't find it. On the driver, it would be under enable, but I couldn't find it. Oh, well, we're narrowing it down, but it is a, I'm pretty convinced. Pretty convinced. Let me just see if I've got any similar mainboard here. Because if I've got a similar mainboard, I won't get a picture, but it will have the 5 volts. No, I don't have many parts here. I've brought a few power supplies in, but I don't bring main boards in. Which on this occasion is a real shame, because if I had a Vestel board that's got similar plugs and sockets, we can just test it to bring the backlights on. So I've been beaten again by a blooming Vestel. But that's why I was foxed when changing all those parts over a couple of weeks ago. I don't think I've ever known a main board not to... Oh, I have. Yeah, not to switch. I have. But probably a couple of times. Yeah, and it could be in the firmware. Is it in the firmware, the command to switch on the backlights? Yes, it must be. It must be. So maybe it is a firmware fault. Which is that chip there. Is it getting hot? No. Okay. So we're getting closer. I reckon in a couple of years' time, this will be done. I'm sure it'll be done by tomorrow, or maybe a few days. But sometimes the simplest of televisions, and Vestel, very simple. You can learn a lot by starting to get used to boards and how they operate on a Vestel, because all Vestels are very similar, as no doubt you know, and it really does help you when you then move on to other televisions to kind of diagnose things. But of course it hasn't helped me very much, because I've gone for the completely wrong board from the word go. But I think most techs would have done exactly the same, because that fault, I mean, we're still not 100% it's that, but that fault is very rare. Very rare. So until I find out the backlight on command, there's nothing I can do apart from go and have a cup of tea. Thanks very much for watching. I'm sorry it wasn't exciting. Bit of an anticlimax when a Vestel backlight doesn't come on. But it'll be part 3. If this continues, it'll be like those old Flash Gordon serials at the cinema in the 70s. Do you remember those little 20-minute black and white serials that went on? I think there were 12 episodes. Well, episode 3 will be very shortly. May even be tomorrow, because I'm sure I'll find the board for this. I know I will. In fact, I know where there is a board for this, but I won't be able to get it till late tomorrow night. So I'll just see if I've got time and can plan around, because there's a couple of other jobs I have to do tomorrow. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Speak tomorrow.